garage is humongous. It sounds like similar to what Mr. Neill wants to build, and it just changed the whole neighborhood. A neighbor very close to me is the only one that has a gigantic, like a garage that to me sort of ruined the neighborhood. Everybody else has a normal sized garage and it's a beautiful lakefront properties there. So I plead with you, please do not grant this variance to Mr. Neill, who has been a wonderful neighbor, but it just it will be an eyesore. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Retiring from the church and looking forward to a new season with Joe.
Good evening. Once again, my name is Joseph Udovic. I'm at 213 San Juan.
Sorry, spell your last name for us, please.
Thank you. Once more. Udovic. I did get a chance to walk around the neighborhood, and I do agree with the comments that were mentioned. All the other structures in the facility are basically single storage, double unit type of garages. I noticed that when walking around the neighborhood that Mr. O'Neill has a couple trailers. I guess they're either jet skis on them in his yard, and there's another trailer filled with covering something up, maybe a vehicle or a motorcycle. I appreciate that he wants to put this much money into his neighborhood, but my concern is the future value of the neighborhood. If this project does go through and does get passed in front of this board, how will it affect the values of the homes that are adjacent to either 216th or Edgecliff? Will it make people who are selling their homes more sellable or less sellable? Because you have one structure that's huge versus other ones that are normal looking. That's my concern, because obviously when people sell a home, in some cases they need to get out real quick because of an illness. They need to be relocated to a nursing home, and they want to sell a home. If this is going to deter the future sales of the area, this does not make the area very prosperous and very interesting to look at. So that was my concern, because as the councilwoman mentioned, the residents of this area, as well as in my area, want to maintain a certain quality of life. And this is once again altering that quality of life for current residents as well as future residences. If this does pass in Mr. O'Neill's yard, will another resident be allowed to put a garage of this size in that same area, be it either Edgecliff or on 216th Street? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I believe that we can answer to is, if this passes, will another resident be allowed to do the same thing? Is that correct, sir? I believe if the resident comes in front of us with seeking a variance, it could be granted. Answer how fast the property could be sold. It may be more desirable to have a larger garage, since the ones in the area are generally pretty small, but I don't know that we could speak to that directly. You're welcome, sir.
Yes, good evening. I appreciate your wanting to invest in your home, Mr. O'Neill. But like the two ladies that spoke, I have to live and I'm subject to looking at an oversized garage that was ramrodded through the city. And I'm not happy with looking at such a large structure. I'm someone that likes nature and trees, and I know that when you do new buildings, you do affect the landscape and the root structure and the water runoff of other properties and the sunlight, etc. I think building a garage that is, similar in style but possibly smaller scale, shorter in height, could possibly accomplish the same thing without requiring a zoning variance and keep the same structural elements in there as well. I do see that you're requesting a 3-foot setback on the, I believe it would be on the property. What is the setback on the rear of the property?
3 foot.
On the rear as well?
It won't be any further to the orientation of the garage is east-west. The back of the garage is facing east, the driveway is facing west.
But it looks as if the existing garage is more than 3 feet off the back property line and less than 3 feet off the sideline. If we're reading the blueprints correctly, I'm sure that the architect...
It's definitely 3 feet. According to the print, it's 3 feet.
line on
And
the
it's gonna
side,
be,
but on the back, it looks to be,
it may be, the current garage might be 4 feet, it might be 1 foot difference. Garage will actually be 3 feet off the south side of the property, so it'll be further on my property.
have you looked at alternative plans or modifying this that it wouldn't be as large of a structure?
We have, but this is what I'm looking to build. This is what I believe I need. And if I could, Mr. Chairman, comment on, can I comment on some of the speakers?
Sure.
I'm sympathetic to them, and I appreciate people that don't.
Mr. O'Neill, I'm sorry, one moment.
But I would also be in favor that if you were going to, I would also be in favor that if you were going to build a large garage structure, that you wouldn't have need for an existing shed, that a shed would have to be removed as part of the condition, as well as all the sundry items that are out in the backyard as well be out of sight.
I could live with that, with getting rid of the shed, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. O'Neill?
Mr. Chairman, I didn't want to commit to removing the shed, but if it's made conditions of variance, yes, I will. I'll absolutely do that. And to the speaker's comments, I do appreciate that residents are involved in coming up and speaking. However, I know some of the residents don't live anywhere near where I live, but they did comment, and speaking to the resident, that Margaret, that was talking about the green space and the trees, they do have a 6 foot and a possibly taller 6 foot fence in her backyard that she can't even see my yard, can't even see my property. What she's referring to as far as tree vegetation is a tree that's a couple doors to the north of me on 217, and her husband came over last week after I spoke with him a week and a half ago, and we measured. We had a 20-foot pole, we measured, and she wanted to see the sight line if she could see the top of the tree. And her concern was the street that's a couple doors down from me on the 217, that she couldn't see the top of the tree, that if the gable of my garage was built to the height that I want to build it. That was the concern. She has, like I said, she has a plastic fence that's 6 foot high that she can't even see my property. So it's not like I'm blocking, the garage would be blocking a view of the lake. It's she wouldn't even be able to see my yard. She can't see my yard. So I sympathize with her love for the trees, and you certainly can walk two doors down. She walks her dog. She can see the trees on the street. Again, as far as home values, I believe that this is a significant investment. It enhances not only my property, but I believe it enhances the property in the area around me.